In this video, we're going to be breaking down what is arguably the best way to make your product stand out on Amazon, and that is your product packaging. Welcome back to FBA Unfiltered. If you're new to the channel, we are documenting step by step how we're launching this new product on Amazon FBA. Make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications as we reveal our behind the scenes process. Now, let's dive into the video. All right, FBA Unfiltered crew, we're back for another video. I'm Taylor. I'm here with Rami. Rami, how are you today, man?
I'm doing well. I appreciate the introduction, Taylor. Let's get rocking and rolling. In today's video, we're going to be discussing how we created the perfect package design for our product. And just starting off hot, we're going to be discussing why packaging matters so much. And essentially, although I guess it could be against what a lot of people, say, first impressions matter a ton, especially in regards to making buyers' decisions when they have no idea who the heck you are, right? We have to remember most people are scrolling Amazon on their phones. So if your brand packaging doesn't like pop out the page and explain what the product is, you're only hurting yourself and ruining your possibility for tons of sales, right? So first impressions matter a ton. Secondly, it builds trust, right? Funny enough, I just launched one of my newest brands, and my friend, he bought 3 of the products. And I was like, man, thank you for so much for buying 3 products. Let me give you one for free. I appreciate you supporting the brand. And then he responded to me and said, listen, you showed me the product, but I want you to know I didn't buy the product because I was supporting you. I bought the product because I saw how much time and effort you put into the listing, the brand, the packaging, X, Y, and Z, and the cost point you're selling it for sold me on it. That's why I bought your product. And obviously, he's biased. He's a friend of mine. But nonetheless, when I read that message, I was like, damn, what I'm doing is right. Right. So I cannot stress this enough. Even if this is for people that right? Having trust is super, super important. And taking the time to build a beautiful brand design, a beautiful setup, and with the modern day of like usage of technology, AI, X, Y, and Z, it's just so much easier. So please do it. And kind of just like what we were just talking about, it drives conversions, right? An attractive, well-designed packaging boosts sales 10 out of 10 times. And on Amazon, where customers can't see your product physically and they're just relying on pictures, if your branding doesn't speak for it, again, you're just shooting yourself in the foot, in my opinion.
Absolutely. I like to say, because I've been self-publishing books on Amazon KDP, and one of the phrases you'll hear in that space is, normally people say, oh, don't judge a book by its cover. That's 180 degrees incorrect when it comes to selling on Amazon. They
Yep.
are solely judging your book by the cover. That's the main thing they're judging right off the bat. Think of your package design as your cover. It's the first thing that people are going to interact with when they come across your brand. It's important that it makes a good first impression.
And that's why we went through a lot of different design inspiration. We started off with using Chat GPT, like we discussed in the beginning of this video and the last video. We said, hey, Chat GPT, this is the idea of the product that we want to make, a women's Shilajit gummy. We want it to be modern, simplistic, feminine, because it's a women's product. Come up with inspiration and like think really out of the box. And these are the 5 designs that really caught, our eye initially. And I will say, you can tell we had some Primal Queen inspiration here, for sure. And then, these 2 were cool, but they're still too masculine. So we definitely went with these 2 in the original like process of like narrowing down where we want to go to and then handing it off to the designer.
Yeah, and these all kind of reflect our goals, right? We wanted a premium high-end branding, and we wanted to specifically appeal to women, to health-conscious women. And we wanted it to be clean, kind of natural, but yet retain kind of somewhat of this kind of scientific element of like elemental nutraceuticals being kind of refined and premium. And so those were kind of our guiding principles as we're working through all these different design iterations.
One thing that's a little bit of a catch-22 that I will mention, you can see here where it says Elemental Nutraceuticals. It's a long brand name if you really look at it. So one of the biggest things that we said too right off the bat is like, hey, although we want our brand name to really shine through, we wanted to make sure it was in a more compact logo. And then as we grow and there's more belief and trust in the brand, then we can make the logo a little bigger and bigger and bigger because no one cares about the name really. in the beginning, but branding is still insanely important. So we want to like balance the two between being just big enough to where it's legible, it's beautiful, it's modern, it's sleek, it's minimalistic, but then also it's not taking up half the brand page because we want Shilajit gummies for women to be popping off the page, not elemental nutraceuticals in the beginning. We're not Nike yet.
Yeah, and just remember, guys, that this comes after that market research. So, as we've gone over in previous videos, we're trying to fill a very specific gap in this niche. And so, all of this thought is really driven towards designing a product that's going to fill a particular gap in the market. And so when we were looking, we've already mentioned this before, but almost all the other designs were very masculine. They were very black and white, like rugged is what I would
Yep.
say. And so we really wanted to come in with something much softer and much more feminine because that was what the market research was telling us the direction we wanted to go in. And now once we had those initial iterations, like we said that we got from using Chat GPT, then we transitioned over to using a graphic designer and iterating from there.
This was a very interesting process because we essentially told the designer, like, hey, we love the mountain aspects a little bit more in this one than this one, but we love the kind of color scheme on this one. We love the flowers. How can we combine the two and have it mesh really well? And the designer actually gave us two different options. And we, to be frank with you, we kind of love both
Hmm.
for its own ways. This was a bit of a hard answer if I was correct. Like I think we both ended up ultimately agreeing on one, obviously. But I could have seen it go either direction, right? Between the two, which was this purple look and then this, pinkish look, and then this like dark maroon look. I'll be frank, the maroon was too dark, so we kind of like threw that out relatively quickly. But the pink and the purple, we loved both. And both screamed, what we were trying to do for this specific product. But after a couple bit of back and forth, we ended up, getting some more, different sort of options. But we knew we wanted to stick into that, pinkish sort of space. But we said, hey, like we saw a lot of Shilajit gummies incorporating this like gold text, so we wanted to see that. We wanted to see like variations where it has like little icons, I guess, to the main, if you've watched the previous videos, the claims that we're making on here. So we kind of just went through all of this and saw different iterations from the graphic designer, and then we really took it out of our control and split tested it with our own friends and family and said, "Hey, like, what looks good here?" And what would be better is if you have like a social media following of anything. You don't have to be an influencer. If you can just post this up and just say, "Hey, which one do you like more, A or B?" Right. So if you're stuck between the two, always getting more opinions should hopefully, ideally, help you make a decision.
Just you guys, we kind of went through this, but I want you to pay attention. There are several elements that are important to pay attention to. So we went over kind of the color palette. That's kind of one of the foundations for the packaging is what kind of color palette you want to use. Then we have like the typography. You could say this is a fancy word for the text. What's the font? What's the color of the text? How's it going to look? Then we have the visual elements. So like Rami mentioned, the mountains and the floral designs. And then we have the call outs or the benefits, whatever we wanted to highlight about the product. But really what we wanted to do was make sure that our primary call out, so to speak, was the Shilajit gummies for women. We wanted that to be at the forefront of this design because that's the high ticket keyword that we really wanted to capitalize on. But those four elements are kind of what you should really be paying attention to when you're working with your graphic designer and take all those into consideration.
One other aspect to that's more pertinent to us is that we started like trying to figure out how the heck to do supplement facts, right? And what we have to do, what changes do we have to do, and it could seem kind of daunting at first, right? But hopefully, you're working with a good manufacturer if you're getting into the supplement space, and they're going to guide you in that direction. But you're always going to start with a mock-up, like just like what we said before. We started with a free mock-up on Canva. I believe we actually Googled a free template, and then we took that template, put it into Canva, and then we adjusted the actual template itself, and we just followed it as it is. And one thing I will say is that there were a couple things we had to make changes to this because the FDA is making constant changes. Something recent that Taylor, you and I haven't even discussed is that the FDA actually wants this like box over here actually bolded now. So this has to be bolded in comparison to the other text on the packaging. Something a little bit unique, something a little bit different, but definitely working with your manufacturer is super important here, especially if they're US based and they really understand the US regulations. But using a free template, putting it into Canva, and then maybe using Chat GPT to build some extra inspiration in regards to things you may have missed is a really good place to start.
Yeah, not only that, but like if you're like us and you actually use supplements, I actually went into my pantry and I just grabbed a supplement bottle and I turned it around and I was like, what do they have on their bottle? And we just yeah, we just added that language in. And then like Rami said, at the end of the day, you're sending this to the manufacturer. They have a very good understanding of how this all works. And so they gave us a lot of feedback in refining this and making it so it was compliant.
The really, really big reveal, and we're super excited to say, is that this is the packaging that we ended up deciding on and going with the final design on it. We actually ended up going with more of the pink and white. And we made sure, like as you can see from here, this Shilajit gummies for women really pops out of the page. At least I hope it does. And that was the main thing we really wanted to push. We wanted this to be feminine, modern, versatile brand. But on every product, what the product does, what the selling point is really focused on there. A really easy thing that I'll leave this video off of on is that the main keyword that someone searches on Amazon to purchase your product should probably be really in big, bold letters in the front of your packaging. If you do that, there is a very strong likelihood that they're going to click on your listing.
That's it for this video, but we'd love to hear your thoughts. Comment below with what you think about our new packaging design. If this video helped you out in any way, we'd appreciate it if you leave a like. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.